Good afternoon, everyone. Just doing audio check. When I know the audio is coming in through the live stream, I will be good to go. My ultra high, low tech, low high tech, whatever approach to this. Audio is good. So, welcome to Friday Fandemonium. I am your Crown Prince of Fandemonia, where we will have hour-ish, give or take. It could be 45 minutes, could be an hour, 15 minutes. A couple of topics I want to talk about. I do have a couple unboxings. You can see the edge of over there. I will start the anti-doxing technology use right now while I'm waiting for people to show up. Give you an opportunity to check in, as it were. Okay. Applying anti-doxing technology now. It's just someone popping in, so welcome whoever that is. Hope you're enjoying a nice little drive-by afternoon talk wherever you are. Anyway, if you have any questions for anyone out there, let me know and I will do what I can to answer them. I had kind of a rough week myself, week and a half. My mom drove me crazy because now I'm disabled, so I can't do much to help her. My brother does most of that stuff. But my mom was hospitalized twice. Now, I'm not as upset because or crazy because she was sick, which always gets to you a little bit. But my brother and I are upset because my mom does that thing where she doesn't tell anyone when she's feeling sick or having pain or anything. Despite the fact that my mother has the health insurance of the gods, she has the full postal health insurance, meaning she retired as a postal worker and has the full package, as it were, Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield for life, right? And she has Medicare. See, not all the postal employees paid into the Social Security and Medicare. My mom paid into some of it, so she has Medicare as well. And so she has this great insurance, which not my brother aren't going to inherit it. Yet she doesn't, she doesn't use it when she's sick often enough, and she goes to the doctor. Don't get me wrong, but she had the back pain growing for over a week before she told anyone about it. And then my brother had to take her to the hospital because she couldn't walk all of a sudden. But it was for a week that the pain was building. So finally, we get on it, and then a week later, they change up some of her medications for diabetes and all that, and she has a reaction to it. Which we find out, so someone else popped in. So we find out the next day. But she hasn't. But she herself wasn't planning on, despite the fact she felt miserable, she wasn't planning. But because she has like a live medical alert situation, her doctor called and told her to go to the hospital right away because her blood pressure had dropped to like 60/20. Okay, so again, she didn't initiate going to the hospital the second time. The doctor did to the remote medical monitoring. And that's what drove me crazy was like, you know, you have this awesome health insurance. Why aren't you using it? Fourth person in there. If anyone listening wants to drop in, just throw me a DM and I could let someone in to talk, as it were. No, here we go. Just keep an eye on this. Okay, stream looks good, so I'll minimize that. Where are we here? Okay. Got to keep all the windows properly balanced. It's 3:03, so I will start the unboxings, as it were. We have a couple watches already. So lately, I've been reading like a lot of the Tolkien stuff that kind of I read. I'll explain to you when I get to the books in a minute. Like I just reread. I don't know if you guys can see it. Well, it's obviously blurry. Right, that black book right where the knife point is. That's called The Fall of Numenor. That's a compilation of all of Tolkien's writings on the Second Age, not just what's in Lord of the Rings, not what's in The Hobbit, not just what's in the appendices to Lord of the Rings, Silmarillion, Unfinished Tales, and History of Middle-earth, and Tolkien's letters compiled in one place in a narrative timeline, so you can read starting at the beginning of the Second Age, all the details that exist in his work about the Second Age, which isn't just Numenor, which is the foundation of the Second Age, but the War of the Elves and Sauron, the War of the Last Alliance, the Forging of the Rings, and all that sort of stuff. So you can get that in one place, basically. So just read through that. It's a great resource. If you don't have, if you don't want to buy or read all the History of Middle-earth and Unfinished Tales, you can get that collection and get it in one place, as it were. So box opening. And of course, another book, a similar book, The Fall of Gondolin. And this is one of the last ones that Christopher Tolkien edited together before he died. And again, this is, if you open it up and look, all of the materials on The Fall of Gondolin, not just what's in the Silmarillion, but Unfinished Tales, the History of Middle-earth, and letters in one place. It's also illustrated by Alan Lee, who's illustrating all of these volumes. So these are new authorized illustrations, which are really nice. Let's see if I can catch one. Yep. Focus. There you go. Now, what's Gondolin? Gondolin was the hidden city founded. There's actually a great song by my brain. Why is my brain locking up? Gondolin. So, okay. So, in order, okay. So, Turgon, one of the kings of the Noldor, who came back, he was guided by Ulmo to found the hidden city of Gondolin as a refuge for his people for the time, for most of the First Age. Okay, and that's where Glorfindel defeated the Balrog, for example, in the Fall of Gondolin, right? And on and on Blind Guardian, which you'll also be listening to, they did an album called Twilight in Middle-earth, which is basically the Silmarillion. And there's a great story about the founding of Gondolin and a great song about that. That's what I was getting to. So anyway, another Tolkien book that I picked up. These are Tales from the Perilous Realm. So what is this? Tales from the Perilous Realm is there's a tiny paperback which might not, all the blurriness you can't see back there, but this is a collection of several of Tolkien's smaller works that sort of don't necessarily relate to the Lord of the Rings Legendarium. I have 3 of these in other editions, but I don't have 2 of them anymore. Anyway, I used to have all of them in like flimsy paperbacks in survival videos. Anyway, these have these. This is what's in here. Roverdam, Farmer Giles of Ham, The Adventures of Tom Bombadil, Smith of Wootentown, and The Leaf by Nigel, and the appendices and on fairies stories and whatever, and illustrations by Alan Lee. Again, great illustrations. And there's one more Tolkien-related book. Hey, Sammy, how you doing, buddy? Welcome to the show. Sammy is one of the newer friends of the channel. You also go subscribe to his stuff. I'll try to remember to put a link to your stuff in my link there, Sammy. When I'm done with the unboxings, at least. Of course, this a Baron and Luthien, which is which is his probably the most tragic tale of the First Age. Probably the one thing Tolkien probably after if he ever finished Silmarillion, probably would expand this to full novel format. Christopher did that basically. This is with original illustrations, of course. And essentially, this is compiling a Baron and Luthien from all the different sources out there into one space. So it's kind of expanded from what's in the Silmarillion. Okay. And the last unboxing really isn't anything big. It's just, I mentioned I was ordering these, so I'll show them off. It's a bag in a bag. I ordered a bag in a bag. Mechagodzilla was not impressed by a bag in a bag. Come on, there we go. Well, Sammy, I hate to break it to you, but there are bags in the bag. But there are boards too, okay? So these are magazine-sized comic book bags. Now, why did I get these? Well, I recently subscribed. I have a whole bunch. Honestly, I have a whole bunch of comic-sized magazines I want to put in these anyway. But the new Savage Sword of Conan is out, and I wanted to protect it properly. Obviously, these are a little oversized. You're never going to get an exact match because of all different formats versus the bags. It's best to get more of a one-size-fit-all safety product like the bags and board, and just deal with a little oversized for all your different comic magazine style things. It's better to deal with that than to not have the protection at all. All right. Okay, so that's the unboxings. I can now put away the trusty Decepticon knife. Hopefully, Sammy survived the shock of the bag in a bag in a bag in a bag of bags. Okay, so Conan, I love everything Robert A. Howell ever wrote. Okay, not just Conan, but Solomon Kane, Cull, Brackban Morn, all sorts of stuff. And matter of fact, I keep showing these off. Back in the 2000s, like 2007 or so, they put a bunch of good collections of all of Howard's related stuff, like I everything related to Solomon Kane, everything published and unpublished, fragments and all the history, plus some essays, all be in this book. And while it's not the greatest sort of, obviously a lot of oversized stuff because giant margin or whatever, but if you ever want to get Howard stuff in like a nice format, look for these. All of Howard's stuff. There's 3 Conan books, a Solomon Kane book, a Brackban Morn, a Call of Atlantis book. In fact, I have Cull over here as well. Dig it out. Here's the Cole one. The others are started on the shelf / couch behind me. Yeah, Conan is great. Funny enough, El Spray de Camp. Hey, CLS, thanks for listening. El Spray de Camp, who was became he and Lynn, what's her name, two-sided sci-fi fan, and they became sort of the I guess you would say arbiter of the Howard works in the state before they all went public domain, and he sent Tolkien Howard's Conan and some other stuff near the end of Tolkien's life, because Tolkien didn't find out about Robbie Howard until literally the early 1960s, and Tolkien enjoyed it. He actually liked the pulp stuff, So interesting story there. Where are we? Okay, so let's get on to our articles, which aren't as positive as the great J.R. Tolkien or the great Robert E. Howard, right? Let's first talk about. Let's present, share screen, window, and you're going to see me multiple times. There's me. Look, it's double me. It's me and me and me. Okay, hold on. Something's not working here. I'm like daisy chaining myself. It's not letting me share the other window. Okay, you know what? I know what I did wrong. I got to put the stream in a different window to do what I want to do. Present screen. No. Here. There we go. Yes, now it'll work. Okay. So our first article is from Collider. Now, I'm not talking directly about this article. I'm linking it to below, of course. Because, again, I've talked about this before. The purpose of human characters in kaiju films is to support the kaiju story, okay? So I don't care about this little girl's lost tribe. Spoilers for Kong Godzilla the Empire, by the way. I don't care about the romance between, the super doctor of the kaiju and, why they gave her this defeminizing ultra short haircut. Well, we know why they did it. They have to, wokeify her and make her look less womanly, than she did in the first movie, right? But I don't care about her. The romance. I mean, in as much as the little girl storyline, however, relates to the kaiju, I do care about that. But they could have gotten rid of the stupid romance stuff. They could, But anyway, here's the thing. I'm probably gonna do a short 5 to 10 minute video on Kong Godzilla, right? There's a lot of bad writing in there, okay? But it's entertaining because there's a lot of great kaiju fights, and it's so fast paced you can kind of ignore the bad writing. When you get to the parts where you know a bad writing, you just look down your phone and maybe browse through some text or whatever. Oh, back to the plot. When you look up and you get back to the kaiju fights, because that's kind of what it is. It's like I'm gonna watch WrestleMania this weekend. There's like 2-3 hour days of WrestleMania, 6 hour WrestleMania. Half of it's gonna suck. Okay, like the pointless triple woman tag team or whatever. No one cares about that. It is no impact. So I'll probably, they're hot chicks, so I'll probably glance at it. But while that match is going on, I very likely will be reading through something. That's kind of how you get through the boring parts of this movie. Now, if you're in the theater, it's a little different, but because of my disability, I have to watch this stuff at home for now, right? So that's my main point about this. Kong Godzilla, it's kind of an entertaining movie. If as long as and the fast pacing saves it. If it were slower paced, it'd be horrible to watch. And I do want to point something else out, because I had the review of the Monarch TV show, right? It's utterly incompatible with the MonsterVerse, okay? Because they established in Monarch that the time in the Hollow Earth is accelerated. So time passes slower in Hollow Earth than it does on the Earth. Okay, so there's no way to coordinate the events we're seeing with Godzilla, Kong going up and getting Godzilla and coming back, and it's only like a couple minutes later. That would be like a day later with the amount of time Kong spent on the surface trying to get Godzilla. Okay, so bear in mind. Next up, Kevin Feige has basically made another flop for Marvel. And why is this bad? So they apparently have announced that they've cast Julie Garner as a female Silver Surfer who's playing Shia LaBeouf. Now, Shia LaBeouf is a significant enough character to have in the movie, right? But, okay, if she were a second, if they were both the Silver Surfer, it would be stupid, but I can see that making it work, okay? Like if there were a bunch of them, right? But what happened in the actual comic storyline, Norrin Rad makes a deal to save his planet and Shia LaBeouf by giving up his, becoming Galactus' herald to find planets and therefore find uninhabited planets that Galactus can consume. Well, apparently they're going to have Shia LaBeouf do that, and she's going to become the herald of Galactus. And I can guarantee you that this Fantastic Four movie is dead on arrival. Okay? Dead on arrival. All the other woke crap they put in it, plus Pedro, everyone hates him, Pascal, and this has killed this movie. Okay? So this movie will probably cost $600 million to make. It'll barely make back what it costs and won't make the advertising. Won't make $1 billion, and we'll all be called toxic fans and misogynists and whatever because we don't like the female Silver Surfer. You know, there are female heralds of Galactus, Nova in particular, Frankie Ray, great character. You know, you could just have multiple heralds of Galactus, for example, if you want to do that angle. No, I don't have a problem with that. But there's another Dead on Arrival movie. And speaking of which, Dead on Arrival, we'll go to this one. So you may have heard the news that Bob Iger's controlling faction on the Disney board fought off the attempted takeover of the board by Nelson Peltz and Ike Perlmutter and their faction. This is not the last word. This fight will be ongoing so long as Peltz and Perlmutter want to do so, because Disney is losing. They just surrendered to, I talked about it last week. The mainstream media played off as Disney declaring peace and put Disney. Well, why do I have the hiccups all of a sudden? Oh. The mainstream media played off as Disney agreeing to, winning despite somehow winning despite dropping their lawsuit against Florida. When in reality, Florida won on every single point, and Disney dropped the lawsuit because it was costing money, and they knew they were going to lose. Okay, so Iger's faction won this, but is losing on every other front with their movies not making money, the TV shows not making money. So what this means is they're going to triple down. Since the board won, they have to persevere in this in order to continue like what they're doing. They have to persevere and hope that somehow, if they persevere long enough, somehow they'll make money and be justified. So, but don't expect Peltz and Perlmutter to give this up. Okay, they put a lot of money into this, and all they got to do is get more people onto their group. Okay. Basically, shareholders, according to this, 94% of the vote. And basically, Disney isn't all the woke. And the only way to save Disney is if Peltz and Perlmutter can buy more of it. And remember, Disney's failing on every front. ESPN is failing. The movies are failing. The TV shows are failing. Disney Plus is failing. And so this is just going to keep going until they fail enough that and when this happened, I don't have it, but the Disney stock dropped like a rock when this happened, by the way. Okay. Next up. So Netflix, last Avatar, the live action Avatar last Airbender on Netflix, the show, they say loses showrunner, and what's happened is Albert Kim has remain the executive producer, but 2 people on his staff have become the showrunners. So, on one hand, don't have any hope for them fix because Avatar is very fixable with season 2. They have a great cast. They have all the costumes right. The vending looks good. The sound, everything is good except the storyline. Okay, but they haven't deviated enough from it that they can't fix it in the second season. Okay, but do we think they're going to do that? No, because I don't think anyone currently on this show has any respect for the original story. Okay, and that's the sad bottom truth on that one. Now let's get on to a little pro wrestling. So my WrestleMania predictions are up. It's about a 10-minute video. I will talk a bit about it if you think a bit about it. I've been getting back into pro wrestling over the past, say, 2 months. Now, I always, even when I wasn't directly watching the old wrestling shows all the time, I was always watching WrestleMania, SummerSlam, Royal Rumble, and Survivor Series, which are the big 4 of the WWE pay-per-views. Plus, occasionally checking out some of the other companies' pay-per-views if there was a good match from guys I respected on there, But the last 2 months, I've been getting back into the weekly shows for AEW, WWE, Ring of Honor, Booker T's promotion, Reality Wrestling, and TNA. So, if I could find New Japan, I'd probably watch them too. Okay, if I could find AAA, which is the top Mexican luchador faction, I'd probably check that out too. So this article, and so WrestleMania is the big, obviously the big weekend. Will Cody Rhodes finish a storyline? Yes, he will. He'll get the title. There's no way they can not give him the title. But that being said, this particular article is about AEW. So EC3 has slammed Tony Khan, who is the owner and the founding financial force of AEW, along with the Youngbloods, Cody Rhodes, 2 other guys. Can't remember their names right now. Anyway, Brandon Rhodes, and one other guy. Anyway, and EC3 slammed Tony Khan as being a horrible writer and all that. So here's the thing. The reason WWE has gotten better is twofold. One, Vince McMahon is gone. He up until maybe 2007, Vince was the gold standard of running a wrestling company. Okay, even when he made mistakes, they tended not to do bad, and you would fix them within a year. But since 2007, it's like he lost his touch, right? And now Triple H is in control, and Triple H knows how to put a program on. But the other thing that really, in my opinion, forced WWE to improve was AEW. All the other leagues out there, Ring of Honor, TNA, New Japan, AAA, and all that, none of them had enough impact, like in terms of like drawing ratings away, to make Vince or WWE care at all about changing the product. AEW, for all people want to fault it, it does draw ratings and is it's a semi-viable top-level competitor. Meaning, in the past, the top level, say in the 80s and 90s, was WCW and WWE, right? Well, I should say in the 80s, it was WWE. 80s and early 90s, WCW elevated. And ECW came along, and that pushed Vince to improve the product, and we got the Attitude Era and the Aggression Era out of it, right? Then he had no real competition for a long time, but he maintained his edge up until the late 2000s, right? Now, AEW has finally become a top-level competitor in that same tier level, and that's pushing WWE to excel. So what does AEW right that WWE doesn't? The matches are way better, okay? I mean, when it comes down to it, unless it's like Ricochet and Seth Rollins, it's on the men's side, maybe Kevin Owens, Shinsuke Nakamura, AJ Styles. Those are your top like actual wrestling people who put on great shows. A couple other guys, Sami Zayn and all. But though Cody Rhodes is not quite there. But AEW consistently puts a lot of top level wrestling in the matches. Okay, and Ricochet, I forgot. Hands down, Ricochet is the best pure wrestling talent that WWE has. Okay. So the criticism here, however, that the storylines in AEW suck, and they do. That they're just like meandering circles of how do we get to the next ring fight and all that. And There's some criticism of some of the high risk stuff that they've been doing, but that's BS because all these people complaining about it did the high risk stuff 10 years ago when they were younger and wanted to make it. And now, like, well, now they don't want them to do it because they can't do it anymore, and that's what makes the bank. Yeah. In any case, that's what the article. It's a good read. EC3 has a good take on it. You got to remember that whenever a pro wrestler has a public take, it's at least a partial work. So you got to take some of it with a grain of salt. Okay? That being said, you can want to check out my little WrestleMania prediction video. You can feel free, and obviously you can watch some of WrestleMania this weekend. You know. Next up, good news. Finally, Alan Richardson will play Reacher for a very, very long time, according to his Amazon boss. So basically, Richardson has said somewhere in here. I owe it to the audience to explore as many of these books as my body will allow. And I owe it to the people that took a shot on me when I was a huge risk for them. They've given me a real career. That plus he honestly likes the Reacher stuff. I wouldn't be surprised if they do the Reacher TV shows. And because there's so many novels, they maybe adapt some of the novels for without him in it, so to speak, as like a sideshow. Give it to because have Neely because Neely has proven to be an excessively popular character, right? But she's only in like 3 novels and a couple of mentions otherwise. But she's now going to be in every season of the show. She's like his partner, so to speak, in action. So she's going to be written into every novel, right? But there's 20-something novels and counting. And we're not going to see them adapt all 20-something novels, okay? So it'll be interesting to do. What they could do is take some of the novels and adapt the ones to have Neely be the main in them, and have them have between the Reacher seasons so you can get those storylines out there, right? That would be an interesting they could do. Or they could do between the seasons like 2-hour standalone Reacher movies to catch some of the novels that don't require the whole 8-hour episode approach, So I'm glad to see, and plus another thing that makes this possible is nowadays they know we don't have to have 20-something episode TV seasons anymore. No one wants to see that. So these actors they can film their 8 hours of TV like it's one long movie in a course of 6 months, then go do a movie for a year, then go back and film season 2. So like I said, there's a lot of keeping this going. There's a lot of flexibility on it, right? If anyone has any questions, feel free to ask. I can always my show is an open topic. If they're listening wants to pop in and talk or whatever, just hit me, DM me via Twitter, via X. And by the way, we had an earthquake here on the East Coast, 4.5 or something like that. And apparently, I was in the shower when it happened, and I didn't even notice it. But that might have been when the water pressure dropped and increased again. So that might have been when it happened. My mom was okay. I saw at the show talking about hospitalization. The first thing I did was call my mom when I found out the earthquake. Like, are you okay? And she's like, oh yeah, I'm shopping now. So apparently it wasn't bad enough to disrupt people very much. My workplace did send an email, and I'm obviously I work from home for medical reasons, but they said they're gonna have engineers examine every building. So and all that. It was funny. The last time I remember an earthquake was about 10 or 12 years ago. I was changed a shift at my job. I was sitting in the chair giving a report, and all of a sudden the building started shaking. And I actually thought I was having a panic attack because I didn't think earthquake. I'm like, what's going on? Why is everything looping around me? And finally, then I realized everyone's saying, oh, there's an earthquake going on. Then, oh, it's everyone, not just me. I was like, it's so funny. That's how rare they are here. You always wonder, Let's go on to the next article. Okay. This movie is going to suck, okay? So when I think of movie trilogies, My favorite movie trilogy of all time is the Omen trilogy. Okay, it's a great first movie, a really good second movie, and a great third movie. And each is standalone but relates to the overall story, and it tells the complete story of the Antichrist and the Book of Revelations and blah blah blah. They made yeah. I mean, I probably should well, it's worse, Sammy. It's worse than what they're going to do the first film. Okay. Um. So, and they made a couple of like direct to DVD Omen sequels. Ignoring the premise, at the end of Omen 3, Jesus Christ is reborn and about to grow up and bring the world to paradise. Okay, so ignoring the fact that Omen 3 invites no sequels other than everyone lounging around in heaven, chilling and accepting God's judgment, working away in purgatory and lounging around. That would be Omen 4. Okay, and Jesus is like chilling and talking and consoling everyone. Okay, that's the sequel to the Omen. Okay. So let's go to what this movie is. Okay? So in the Omen story, Damien was born of a jackal. His mother was actually a canine, a dog, a jackal. Okay, is not a human. There's nothing human about it, right? This entire convoluted plot for the Omen prequel, okay, is so they can give Damien an identical twin sister. Right? So Damien will still go and do the Omen trilogy, right? And then the twin sister, who's also the powers of the Antichrist, is now out there. Okay, that they have the nun who is investigating Damien's birth being somehow like impregnated by Satan, because it turns out she's a half daughter of Satan as well. You know, yes, Sammy, it's mind-blowingly bad. Okay, that's why I put this expending. Normally, if this was a good movie, I would avoid spoiling it, but it's mind-numbingly bad. Okay, mind-numbingly. So the end of the film is Damien goes off into the Omen trilogy, so to speak, and Damien's identical twin sister and is somehow now alive and a chance to be and what are they going to do? So we're gonna have a girl boss. We're gonna have the girl boss Omen sequels now. Omen 3 or whatever you want to call it. There's no way. I hope this. Well, this is gonna flop. It's gonna flop big time. So let's accept that. But this is like this is Highlander 5 bad in terms of the possibilities how horrible this is. Okay. Oh, of course she's a female antichrist. She's definitely going to be omnisexual. She's going to have sex with 7 different people in our films, and then it's going to be lame splatter horror, and she's going to be suave and sophisticated, and all the good and because she's an antichrist, she's going to be a bad guy, but she's going to be the protagonist. So all the good guys are going to be dumb male priests who mean well, but Satan's way is better. That's what you could see what they're pushing with this movie, what they're generating, what they're pushing. And I'm not advocating. I'm not talking from the real world religious story. I'm talking just from the story of the Omen. Think of the Omen as an adaptation of a fictional thing called the Bible's Book of Revelation. I mean, I'm not saying the Bible is fictional. I'm just saying, for purpose of what I'm talking about, think of the Bible as a great book of fiction, right? And the Omen was an adaptation of the Book of Revelations, right? This is an attempt to change the source material, insert their own storyline into it, so they can exploit it for crap. Even the 2 Omen sequels, which involve like Damien's illegitimate daughter, but this was way before wokeism. This was like Fox Movie of the Week bad, not like woke bad. This was like 1990s or something like that. Okay, involving like a child of Damien's illicit love child or something like that. Even they seem like they'd be better than this crap. Now there is one thing related to the Omen that is actually good. That was a sort of sequel. A&E or AMC, one of the two, did an Omen TV show that only lasted 1 season. And what the premise was that Omen 3 never happened. That after Omen 2, Damien kind of, so spoilers for the Omen series, at the end of Omen 2, Damien's basically his adopted brother, finds out he's the Antichrist, and Damien's like, I don't, you're my brother. If you just stand by my side, blah blah blah, I'll rule the world. You'll be with me. And his brother couldn't accept that he was the Antichrist, so Damien killed him. And the premise of the TV show The Omen was that after that, Damien regretted being evil, like seriously rejected Satan, rejected his powers, powered down, became a normal person. But then the Omen TV show takes place 30 years later when the prophecies are trying to force Damien to be the Antichrist again. And this time, he does not want it. And he starts trying to use the powers against evil, but not in a cartoony way. Like, he still falls down the hole of the Antichrist powers in the TV show. No. So what happened, Sammy, is that the TV show is based on on an alternate ending. Like, after Omen 2, Omen 3 happened in the original continuity, right? Damien went on to embrace his Antichrist nature, built up the powerful alternate world government based on his father's corporation and diplomatic connections, and was ready to bring the world into the 1,000 years of satanic rule and all that sort of stuff, right? But in the TV show, and it was a very well done TV show, the premise was, instead of fully embracing evil after he murdered his brother, he kind of had rejected evil, rejected his father's teachings, because he's still a child, remember, and chose a path of trying to reject the evil power, and became a photographer documenting evil and war, try to suppress evil in the world. I'm not describing it well. It's a very good one-season TV show. It's the best way to put it. Okay, and what happens is it's 30 years later, and the prophecies are trying to force Damien back. It was done in like 2010, so Sam Neill would have been way too old to play the character. And the premise was that the evil was trying to force him to be the Antichrist, and he was resisting it actively this time. So there you go. But it was very well done. So that being said, let's move on to this. So we know that major problems happen at Marvel and DC Comics, but that's covered up because they're owned by giant mega corporations that basically throw money at them. IDW is probably one of it's probably the fourth biggest comic company after Dark Horse. There's like a second tier there, and IDW is very woke. They have some good products you can read. I've shown them off here. But they're how do I put it? But they're still very woke, and now that they're getting layoffs, and I don't know what major redundancies hit IDW Publishing tonight. I don't know what they mean by that, but if you read the article, they're starting to fire people because their woke stuff is not selling. So in the ripple effect through comic companies who were doing the woke stuff is starting to hit, okay, which is good. That's what the point of the article is. And my last pre-selected article, there is a total solar eclipse coming up for you will see it in various parts of North America. I have an article here which gives you a guide to that. If you can't see it live, you can watch it live on the net, basically. So there'll be 3 states here. The 150 mile / 185 kilometer path of total eclipse will cross 3 states in Mexico, 15 U.S. states, and 4 states in Southeast Canada. So you'll be able, and this goes on to give you how to watch it safely, and so forth. And this is the path it'll take. So. Okay, so this is my pre-selected science article. So now all these articles are in the comment below. Now I will do my sort of, if I have any questions from people. Sammy, by the way, if you like horror TV show, The Exorcist, all right, I love good horror movies. The Exorcist, the first Exorcist movie was really good, all right, especially if you get the director's cut of it. Exorcist 2, all versions of it sucked. Exorcist 3, if it didn't involve the Exorcist movie, it was just called like The Possession of So-and-so, would have been a really good movie. The fact that it was a sequel to The Exorcist was what made it me is what downs me on it, so to speak, right? But there was a sequel to The Exorcist. Okay, there was a 2-season TV show on Fox. It got canceled because Fox cancels everything that's good after 1 or 2 seasons. It's called The Exorcist, and it was great. At the time, it was probably the best show on American TV at the time. You could find those 2 seasons. Watch it. I don't want to spoil it too much, but it's obviously a sequel to the first Exorcist movie. If you watch the first Exorcist movie and you watch by the 4th episode, you'll have figured out the connection to the movie. I don't want to spoil it, but in any case, that's a great horror TV show adaptation from a movie. Yep. Okay, so what else? So now I'll find some. Let me close some of these down. Let's look for some random articles and see if we can find 1 or 2 to talk about. Oh, let's see what Adam Wingard's favorite Godzilla film is. Excuse me. Yeah, they're right here. That Godzilla Kong does fit how the sort of, some people would say campy, but the more cartoony show-off films vibe, and which I'm cool with. And no, Godzilla being purple is from the last time Godzilla was purple was in the Heisei the Shinsei Godzilla films. I don't know if you can see this. I'll make myself big for a second. This is Godzilla from Godzilla 2000, basically. Okay, it's purple spikes. He had another purple before that. I don't remember offhand. Anyway, back to. So what was his? So Godzilla versus Hedorah was Adam Wingard's favorite, and that's Godzilla versus the Smog Monster. That's the one where famously Godzilla flies by shooting his breath backwards. Okay, and it's very trippy, and it's this hot Japanese chick in body paint dancing. Of course. But in any case, that's kind of cool that he loves the original stuff. Makes sense with watching his 2 films. Okay, I'll talk about this one here. Not so much the specific game, right? But what's happening now is the Japanese are getting so pissed off about their games and manga and anime and all being wokeified in America and Europe that they're now they're trying to do localizations themselves and using AI to do it, which is driving panic through the voice acting and localization industries, because now their woke crap has come back to haunt them. Okay, let's visit Cosmic Book News. I already talked about that Silver Surfer crap. Let's see. Fandom Pulse. Yeah, the more. Oh God, what is Brianna Wu bitching about now? So, although you never followed Gamergate, Brianna Wu was is a lefty. Okay. So, because of our stance on the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, that's a big dividing line on both political spectrums now. But basically, the rest of the progressive movement is going against her back and forth. So let them burn themselves up. Don't care about them. Maybe we can find some good news somewhere. Giant freaking robot. Okay, let's take a look at some good news. I got a way to find it. Let's go to the numbers. So this is the box office, right? So let's see what Godzilla X Kong has done. $218 million through basically its first week of release, not going into the weekend. Yeah, yep. One of the many antichrists of the left. You're correct there, Sammy. 103 domestic, 114 nation international. Take a look. So it did get it. This is the big thing. You get that release in China. That's bank because China is the number 2 market after the U.S. Right. So it looks like Godzilla. I'm going to predict Godzilla Kong New Empire. Certainly it's 500 million. I don't know if I'll might get to 600 or 700, but I think it's going to 500 for sure. Let's see the full daily chart. Let's see how Dune 2 is done. 631 million. I could see Godzilla Kong coming in and around that number. So Dune Part 2 did pretty good. First Omen, $725,000. Okay, we did that. Let's see if we could find another article. Let's go to the wrap. I don't even care. I just don't care. Dark Horizons. Oh, apparently Nvidia bought the entire Xbox franchise from Microsoft. For you gamer nuts out there. So Microsoft is now out of the console gaming business. Not surprised. I don't know why. I guess it makes sense financially. We'll have to see how they position on that, but check out Vulture. And it's funny enough, I've seen reviews of Immaculate out there. Yeah. Let's matter of fact, while we let me make sure I didn't get April Fool on that one, but I'm pretty sure I saw it yesterday. Okay, so here's someone on YouTube. I'm not going to play it all, but trying to find an article about it. So what's happened is that Microsoft is going to be, their games are not going to be Xbox exclusives. Okay. Yeah. So there's a couple of YouTube videos talking about it. So yeah, it's definitely real. Okay. Here we go. UK, and that makes sense with them buying it, with Microsoft and Activision merging, having the big PC gamer thing. That makes sense. Okay, so Immaculate is another supernatural horror film about another birth of the Antichrist. Okay, apparently this film is much better than the Omen prequel. Don't know about that for sure. I might check it out. I might not. It's almost 4:00. Well, but the thing is, Microsoft bought Activision, so it's whatever Microsoft says that goes there, Sammy. Activision would never let the games be exclusives, but Microsoft See, Microsoft has wanted out of the hardware business for a long time. Okay, they originally made the Xbox to justify creating their gaming to sort of create the gaming revenue from the software. But they've wanted to get rid of the hardware for a long time. So now it looks like Nvidia is making money hand over foot, and it makes sense for them because they want to get in on the hardware aspect and get Nvidia into your household. You know what I mean? That's their next step, as it were. Okay, I mean, I think I've covered a lot of stuff here. Anyone have any questions? Anything? Any breaking music news? I will talk about this Kiss thing when I read more about what exactly they did. That's why I'm not talking about it now. Oh my! Look at all the people dying. Like Michael Ward died. Keith LeBlanc died. Oh my God. Thanks, Sammy. So it's almost 4 o'clock. I think I've covered a lot of good ground here. Uh, I will have my WrestleMania review is up. My WrestleMania predictions are up. I'll probably do a short review of it. Might come Monday or Tuesday. Just give my thoughts on it. My Shogun review should be up tomorrow. My Sharp Season 3, Episode 3, Sharp Sword review was up 2 days ago. What else? Yeah, I'll probably do a short video talking about Godzilla Kong, just giving my thoughts on the movie. Not a great in-depth review, just like a 5-10 minute thing, So that's going on. Sammy, thanks for being here. CLS, thanks for being here. And also out there, as I mentioned, this is one of my new internet buddies, Sammy. Check his channel out. He has some nice content, if I recall correctly, if you recall his channel correctly. Glad you hang out with me today, Sammy, and hope I make everyone's Friday afternoon drive a little freer and happier, or at least less boring. My name is Matt at Unbearable 73. I hope you've had a good afternoon. Have a great weekend, and I am out of here.